We're out here with Dan today with Don and Jonathan, and we're looking at this KRG chassis. Tell me a little bit about this gun, Don.
So that's a Seekins Precision Havoc Bravo. It's built as their production rifle for the Precision Rifle Series competitors. It's got a Vortex 4.5 to 27 razor on it, and one of Eric Cortina's tuner brakes that I put on the end to help us decrease the size, because you can actually take that tuner brake and change the harmonics of the barrel, and there's in almost every barrel there's a sweet spot. Once I established the load and the accuracy based on chronograph data, I put the tuner brake on and then followed his instructions. And you know, you go through a curve. It's like it'll start out and then it'll either get bigger or smaller, and you find where that was. I've done that a couple of times, but where I'm at now is where I think the best spot is. If we need to or want to, we can actually turn it and cross-check that, because it has set screws, but the set screws are designed to put tension on the tuner so that it stays where it's at, but still be enough that you can move it. So
nice.
We may have to dial it around or play with it. Hopefully, we're going to bolt this thing together and shoot some groups and go, there we go.
There you go. Do you think altitude, humidity would have any effect on that?
No, but the overall system,
pressure,
this is all load development. Everything was done in eastern North Carolina, which is just a few feet above sea level. Here we're over 5,000 feet.
Yeah.
So what I anticipate is this load is going to shoot, because the thinner air, lower density altitude, I assume that it's going to shoot higher onto the target first. I don't care where it's at, as long as, like we talked yesterday, as long as the groups. Groups are,
we're going to find out.
It's going to be pretty interesting, because my chronograph data says 2748, and that's at about 200 feet above sea level. So it'll be really interesting to see. Yeah.
10-4, and we're not even going to start at zero, or 100 yards at zero. We're going to take it to 200.
I'm on paper.
So our point of impact is going to move.
Yeah, I'm within a click. And since we're at a different altitude, and we're going to probably have to dial the scope around anyway, it'll hit paper at 200, and we'll just go from there.
We'll just go from there.
Yeah.
10-4, and we're going to check the group size with the loads you brought today.
Yeah.
I brought one box of ammo.
Okay.
So we can at least compare and see two different ammo variations, maybe
to
see a difference in the ammo. And we're going to stretch this out. Now, where are you from again? Which country?
I live in North Carolina, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Yeah, and who are you guys with again?
Excelitas Technologies Corporation.
Excelitas?
Yes.
Excelitas Technologies Corporation.
We work in the defense and aerospace division.
I'm going to put this into the rest right now, in the Mega 2. We actually don't call it a rest really, because it's more of a rifle testing machine. So let me tell you what we got going on here. Obviously, you know, we got a machine that will hold fire and recoil any rifle apart from the shooter. It has a remote trigger to pull the trigger and everything. The things to point out with this machine right now is the gun will be held floating, and we'll go through that as we get going, and I'll show Jonathan some of the things I showed you yesterday. As I get it pulled up on our monitor, we're going to put a camera back here. We're going to document your point of aim. We'll document the point of impact. We'll visually, all three of us will be able to see where this gun's pointing, and we'll be able to see where it hits. So it'll be great documentation. We'll have that document. We'll mix it down for you. We'll give it back to you, and you guys will have that data as well. Awesome. The bench, as you stated, is very sturdy, very strong. If you hit the bench with the palm of your hand, it doesn't wiggle. I look for a bench that is kind of like a Bro-Man punch to the shoulder, because that's what you're going to get. Boom. And you don't want that bench to wiggle around. If you're dealing with a 4.5 inch, 5 inch barrel, it's a different world. The bullet travels so fast, slide hasn't even come out of lockup, bullets exited the barrel, life's golden. We're dealing with a 21 inch.
This is a 24 inch barrel.
24 inch barrel. Things change. And then you attach the brake on the front, things change. And you can deviate this round before it exits that barrel. We know that. You're not dealing with a 4 or 5 inch. So the bench is important. The rest is important. We know the best shooters aren't as accurate as they are repeatable. We let a lot of people understand that. I mean, even Jerry, he's not as accurate as he is repeatable. If he's off target second time, third time, he can quickly adjust, and he's repeatable. It's like the best basketball players. They're not as accurate as repeatable. Boom. They can make corrections. They're very repeatable. Boom, 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 every time they're hitting that basket. So that's what this machine is going to give to us, as a very repeatable platform to remove as much variable in error as possible. It's going to have same recoil, return to battery. We're going to be able to do adjustments if needed, but this is a 6.5. This thing will handle all the way up to those Ultra Magnums, 468s, 50 cals, but when you get up to those Ultras, those Ultra Magnums, the ones that really punish you, and sometimes if you don't have the right brake, that'll just give you a concussion. Those you might have to do fine adjustments between rounds, and that's by design. The machine's not moving. It's grounded within 2/10 TIR, total indicator reading within 4 foot. The machine's not moving. The gun in the pads, it will move, and we want it to. You want it to absorb that shot and just do its thing. The harder you hold it, the more things are just gonna beat itself up. We know by physics, engineering, you're the engineer here, those forces will find a way to go. And so we want to absorb all that. So we'll show you how it's going to absorb all that as we get set up. Things to keep in mind, so the bench is sturdy. This bench, if you notice right now, we have some risers underneath the machine right here. These risers are about right where the bearing risers are. Okay, that is by design. If you put this on this concrete bench right now, it rocked. This bench is not perfectly flat. Hence our front and rear rifle rests don't care. They're separate, everything's golden. Even if they're not separate, you got 3 leveling feet on them, and that's the reason you have it. So nothing's perfectly flat. It's either concave, convex, twisted, bowed, you know. So we have 2 risers here, just a couple little pieces of C-channel, and then as you see, we're clamped right above where our supports are. This minimizes any twisting, bowing effect in the machine. Allows for smooth recoil and return. Okay, that's what you're looking for. As you twist or bow this machine on the bench, it could increase that recoil, bind these bearings. Everything's pretty precise. Hence, this is a portable machine. We didn't build a big old frame for it. You just carry it, slap it down, bolt it down, you're good to go. So, as you see, we use 2 1-inch bars in the front and rear. We tell our customers they can source them locally wherever you're at, paint them black, use them, or you can buy them from us. It's up to you. We're not out to nickel and dime anybody. We sell these big beefy clamps as well. The big beefy clamps.
Yeah, that's quite an impressive clamp.
Are way more than you're going to find in a hardware store. Thank you, sir, for that.
I made that comment a little while ago when I saw it. I was like, I'm quite impressed.
Yeah, and our buddy Doug Clem here built this bench right here at that Quonset hut over there. This bench was built. A little bit of an improvement from our 100-yard benches, which had seen a lot of use. Yeah, and he welded this bench up with the swing out chair.
Nice.
You can put it to either side. Has a Acme screw thread on it. Adjust your seat. Pretty impressive. And
certainly.
yeah, and these clamps are much more impressive than what you're going to find at a hardware store. We sell them, we source them, and have them in stock. We use them for our pistol and our rifle machine. So we're going to finish our setup here, and we'll kind of talk as we go to inform you guys. I just wanted to take a minute and kind of bring you up to speed some of that. I'll bring you more up to speed of some of our conversation yesterday, how it holds the gun, how it recoils, some of the pads and stuff. So as we kind of move along and get set up.
Awesome.
That is all important information. In fact, I'll just mention it right now. So the pads, this blue material here, it's specific to us. We're the only ones in the world that have it. Back in mid-80s, actually about into 80s, early 90s, environmental control kind of changed. So we had changed material a little bit. So when we changed the material, they're now blue. Before that was a green material. All our grip inserts was made out of it. So it's kind of the durometer of the human hand. If you push on your finger, trigger finger a little bit, or let's say you made a muscle as tight as you can, like you're holding a gun. You made a muscle as tight as you can. You push on this little muscle here, you'll see it give a little bit, and it's bone. So that's kind of the consistency we're looking for in those pads. It's kind of like the durometer of the human hand. So it just kind of absorbs it and it moves on. In bench rest shooting, you really want to dampen that vibration recoil. Here we're really wanting to duplicate the end user. So like I mentioned to Don yesterday, a machine shot is useless if not duplicatable by the end user. I don't care if you're doing an accuracy test or a destructive test. It's absolutely redundant and stupid to do a machine test that is not duplicatable to the end user. If you're going to destructive test it, that barrel, that gun is going to fail ahead of time or last longer than what it would in the real world if you had it out in the field. And that's not what we want. So we want to duplicate the end user. So this ain't quite mimicking a standing shot, but it is absolutely not mimicking a bench rest shot. And as I mentioned to him earlier, this is a testing rig to compare multiple different guns, multiple different ammos, and figure out what your gun likes. Once you decide to start stretching it out to 600, 1,000, 2,000, 1,200 yards, you may want to start bench resting it. But see, by that time, your shoulder's fine, your eye's fine. You've done your 10 rounds, 10 rounds, 10 rounds, 10 rounds. You've done your, velocity test. You've done everything you needed to do for your ballistics. And like I explained to him before, staring through the scope, I don't have scope blindness. I don't have any of that. I have a monitor. My shoulder feels fine at the end of the day. I'm not fatigued. I don't feel beat. That's what you're wanting. And that's where this comes into play. Once you decide to start stretching it out further, I've absolutely proven you can probably get a 1/4 inch difference at 200 yards. Dale Aaronson's done it to me. But in general, you're going to almost expect that super shooter like himself that gives free recoils, not even leaning on the butt pad. He's not touching that butt pad. He's allowing it to just come back, contact his shoulder, and recoil, and then slightly return it. And boom. He's probably going to get a little bit better accuracy at those distances. Okay? It's just the way it's going to be.
But you're
that's
talking
free
a guy
recoil.
that makes his house payment shooting tiny group a long way away.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. There's
a
that free
handful
recoil.
of those people in the world.
But at the same time, it is. It's the snipers. It's a world record holder. I've put this machine against him, and he's even complimented on the machine. So we know we have something here, and it is to mimic and duplicate that. If you're going to sit here and do a 1,200 rounds through this barrel and decide, hey, when does this 6.5 Creedmoor fail? You can sit here and just do it. And we have a standard. And then you can also have a standard gun, put it in here, verify everything, put your next gun in and go, this one doesn't meet the standard. That's where it's at. And people's not saying, well, Dell's just a good shooter. It don't shoot the same for me. Well, it will do that. No question about it. You need to learn how your trigger pull, your sight picture, you're acquiring your object, and so that's kind of where we're at. We're going to show you today. You're going to enjoy it. We have taken mini guns. We have taken there was that 6.5, actually the 5.56 H&K 3.5 inch group at 100 yards. Standard ammo. We just start changing ammo. Federal, Hornady, Fiocchi. Just until we shrunk it down to a 1 inch hole, 30 rounds, 1 inch hole. Just boom, 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 boom. 30 rounds, 3.5. 30 rounds, 2 inch. 30 rounds, 1 inch hole. You're like, there's your answer right there. So,
Good.
And that's where you're at. So, beautiful gun, beautiful chassis, and we're going to adjust these ears. As you see, these ears come up and down. So, you really want to adjust these to hold the gun where you typically would hold it, where you wouldn't deform it. It's a floating barrel. You don't want to strap onto the barrel. You'll see my strap will be right here where it actually contacts your action, where it's actually threaded in. You can hold here, and you're not going to affect that harmonics, okay? Your best bet would be actually get up in here, but you can see as I do that, I'm going to deviate your scope. You see, so I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to hold right there, okay? We're going to hold down there. We can also pull down on this chassis right here. So if I slide this carriage, if I loosen this carriage up, and we slide it back, we can actually grab your sling mount if we wanted to as well. We're going to do it without the sling position today, just curiosity. This should hold as a 6.5.
But you can actually, got there.
Right there, you can actually hold that sling mount. So
that's pretty slick. I didn't see that yesterday.
So just as the military tells you, wrap your arm around that sling, suck it down, So we're holding on the chassis. We're holding on the chassis. And we're holding on the chassis. We have left this all alone, okay? Now, this is only in to aid, help keep it down. Okay, so I'm going to come forward to here. And you're going to barely clear the strap where we want it. And this is only to aid keeping it down. And same with the front. And there you go. So, same here. And I'm going to loosen these pads here. You can see this one's wiggling right now. And I've loosened it. I'm going to drop it down so I can get that chassis right where I want it. Okay? I'm going to do that to these as well. Verify they're all down. I'm going to move these pads to where I like them. I kind of like them here, and I haven't looked at this gun to see if it had a removable butt pad. But if this had a removable butt pad, you're better off removing the butt pad. The machine doesn't want the butt pad. We need the butt pad. This don't care. What it's going to do in the machine is it's going to try to absorb and then come back, absorb and come back. You know what I'm saying? Instead of transferring those forces.
It does. I've never taken it off, but I know because the rifle came with additional sections, so I know it's adjustable. I know, so we can pull it out of there. I got a toolkit with me. We can try to figure out how to get that thing. Let's take it off.
Okay, then let's take it off.